Welcome to the Carriker Chronicles, the People Show. Check the pulse of Husker Nation. Brought to you by Nebraska Spine Hospital. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm just going to put this out there. There may be some things in this show that you find unpopular. Maybe some you find popular. Maybe some you like, you don't. Hey, it is what it is. Let's light this candle. So I'm going to start off by shocking you, by flooring you. You've never heard this before. And I'm going to state the obvious. Scott Frost needs to start winning games now more than ever. Beyond the obvious, and I'm going to state it. Winning cures all. Well, like 95% of the time, winning cures all. You've heard it before. His record through 3 years is 12-20. It's not phenomenally phenomenal. In my opinion, he's had several rough post-game press conferences that have not helped the perception, of himself or how the program is going at the moment. And obviously, most of you have heard last week, the Husker football program is now under NCAA investigation, potential improper use of analysts and or off-site workouts and things of that nature. Now, we don't live in a world where reality is reality. Perception, whether it's real or not, perception is the reality, and that's just the reality of the world we live in. Perception is reality. Now, the perception, in my opinion, my humble opinion, ever since Scott Frost got hired, just seemingly every so often or every time we turn around or whatever the case may be, something just seems not to be going right. And it isn't going in the right direction is the way it seems up to this point. And it seems to be happening quite frequently, more than I would like, more than I'm sure Scott Frost would like. I do want to, I've been off social media this summer for the most part. It's been pretty nice. But every once in a while I'll get on, and I'm going to get back on social media much more frequently now that the Husker football season is starting. But every once in a while I get on and see what people have to say. And I couldn't help but notice, since the NCAA investigations have become public. They've been going on for a while, since before Trev Alberts was hired, but since they've become public and the media's been talking about it, there's some folks on social media who are upset with the Nebraska media. Now, if you've ever watched my show, I'm not a media defender. If you ever followed my career, I'm not a media defender. I have no problem with people saying I did great, I did terrible, whatever the case may be, as long as it was true. What bothered me was the inaccuracies, the partial quotes, or the complete inaccurate quotes that were attached to me sometimes. And I know there's been things that I've said on this show that have upset other media members in the Nebraska media. Wasn't my intent to make them happy. I just speak my mind, and it is what it is, and I try to be passionate and respectful. But I'm not a media defender at all. But I will say this, and there may be some, who knows, but there's nobody that I work with in the media who's actively rooting against Scott Frost and or the Husker football program. Okay, people are talking about, it gets clicks, it gets views. If you think about it, the better the Husker football program does, the more excited people get, the better local businesses do. I know Scott Strunk at Husker Hounds, he's had to close one of his Husker Hound stores a couple years in a row. How much better would he be doing if the Husker football program was winning? High tide raises all ships, ladies and gentlemen. So that kind of doesn't make a lot of sense to me. Okay, at a certain point, everybody wants Nebraska football to do well. Okay, just because high tide raises all ships. I'm a Nebraska footballer for life, so I always going to root for him. But I actually think Scott Frost has been given a little bit more of a cushion than most coaches I can think of. But let me just speak for myself now specifically. I'm a commentator, not a reporter. Said that before. So maybe that makes me a little bit different than most. Maybe that's good. Maybe that's bad. I don't know. It is what it is. A lot of the media nowadays, not even sports, not even just Husker football, but just in general, instead of reporting the facts and letting you come to your own conclusion, in my opinion, and maybe I'm wrong, that's how it used to be, but I feel like now it's, this is what your opinion should be. Now you go find your own facts. Okay, so just to be clear, here's what I try my absolute best to do with this show. I try to give you the facts along with my opinion because I'm a commentator. Okay, but I'll never tell you what to think or that you have to agree with me. That kind of defeats the purpose of the People's Show. When I say People's Show, I mean that. I want a back and forth. I want hey, Adam, you're right. Hey, Adam, you're not right. Hey, Adam, whatever the case may be. It's why I ask for your opinion at the end of so many of these shows. I don't never ask, and I will never expect anybody to automatically agree with me. Okay, now let's get to more of the point of this show specifically. That was a longer sidebar than I intended. I apologize for that. But I've talked the past couple years about how Scott Frost needs to have 5 years, okay, which would be 2 more years. This is going into year 4, no matter what happens. Okay, and obviously I wasn't thinking NCAA investigations or things of that. I was thinking more on the field type stuff. Number 1, to make sure he is or is not the right guy. Number 2, if he isn't the right guy, we need to be able to prove to another viable coach, hey, we gave him every opportunity. There was nothing more we could do. So I've said that before. After this recent drama, and who knows what's going to come of these NCAA investigations, hopefully nothing. I'm hoping nothing. I hope we win a bunch of games, and I hope Scott Frost's here for 25, 30 years like Tom Osborne was. Okay, but again, perception is reality, and perception isn't great by some when it comes to Scott Frost. And I do think Scott Frost's honeymoon period has definitely been shortened, if not being potentially over. So this season may decide his future. Who knows, okay? So I've come up with three things. Three things, because I want him to be here going into year 5 and year 6. Three things that need to happen for him to guarantee, all right, that he's going to be here going forward. Number one, you got to win more games. Winning cures all, right? Like I said earlier, 95% of the time, you got to win more games. That's first and foremost. You got to go at least 6-6. You got to make a bowl game. I mean, that's like a bare minimum in year 4. Number two, nothing needs to come of these NCAA investigations. And to be fair, there are other schools where things are going on. Like Michigan's being looked into, yet we're the headline. I'm not going to sit here and whine and moan. It is what it is. The world ain't fair. I just wanted to point that out. Number three, and the post-game press conferences, personally for me, I don't want to hear blame being put everywhere else if things aren't going right. Okay, if things aren't going right, it starts at the top, especially in year 4. Okay, and yeah, he was a phenomenal player in 1997, especially from the Washington game on. Okay, but I'd rather not hear about the 90s as frequently anymore. We know what happened. I grew up. I'm a fan of that. I love watching those games on ESPN Classic. But at a post-game press conference or a Monday press conference or whatever, I'd like to focus on what's going on now and how we're going to get better. Those are my personal opinions. Okay, again, what do you find folks at home think? You let me know your thoughts. Facebook, Twitter, check Carriker Chronicles out, hometown.com/Carriker, as well as YouTube. Go Big Red, and always remember, throw the bug. Thanks again to our sponsor, Nebraska Spine Hospital. Ladies and gentlemen, when it's your spine, you do not want to mess around, and experience matters. That's why you can trust the experts at Nebraska Spine Hospital, the region's only spine-specific hospital. They are the best at what they do.